The more time you spend in the presence of a soulless one, you will eventually not only lose your mental faculties, not only will you go insane or lose your damn mind, but you can actually lose your own health. You can actually fall physically ill by being mentally and emotionally tortured on a daily basis by these soulless creatures, also known as the narcissists. All right. And we're not just talking about, when it comes to the soulless one, we're not just talking about someone who just made a mistake or a couple mistakes or even 3 mistakes. We're talking about someone that deliberately has tried to destroy you. They were on a mission with the intentions of annihilating your spirit, and they don't give up. We are talking about people that knowingly do what they do, and they have chosen to do the devil's work. That is who we're talking about. People who actually are demons incarnate, because how else can you attempt to destroy beautiful things without being one who has no soul? That's why I call them the soulless ones, because it takes someone to have no soul to be able to do the things that these narcissists do. If you make mistakes, you're not a narcissist. If you take accountability for those mistakes, you're damn sure not a narcissist. An actual narcissist does not give a fuck about how how they've hurt anyone. They literally pick the best people. They pick good people. For the most part, they do. They pick these people just to hurt them, just to destroy them, because they are a reflection of what they can never be. And so, of course, the only thing they have in mind is destruction. They have made that decision, and there's nothing we can do about it. There's no amount of healing power that can be provided onto them that will cause them to change and become decent human beings. There is nothing that can be done because they have chosen to be evil. And so, you have to move accordingly. Stop having empathy for people that are evil, people that don't care about you, people that want you 6 feet under. Stop empathizing with the devil, because you will lose your mind, body, soul, and everything. Your existence will cease to exist the more you give to this soulless one. There is a dark energy that surrounds the soulless one, and I have already made a video about that. Yes, there is definitely a lot of darkness within the vessel that appears human. Now, there's 2 things that could happen with the people that have hurt you, all right? First scenario is this person's not really a soulless one. They just made a really bad mistake, and it ended up hurting you, and they didn't know any better, or they have not healed. So when they hurt you, it wasn't intentional. They did it because, well, it just happened. They didn't mean to do it, because they were going through their own thing. They still had unhealed wounds, so they didn't know how to really detect and appreciate the company that you gave them, or the love you gave them, or whatever. So that there's that, but usually those people, they take accountability, they do what they have to do to make sure that they don't do that again, right? There's a difference between that, there's that sense of remorse. Okay, people do make mistakes, all right? So, but the second part is when they absolutely don't give a fuck. Like, at this point, it's not even a mistake when it's a constant pattern. It's a pattern of abuse. It's a pattern of them just not caring. Like, they just are reckless. They do whatever they want. Or, better yet, their intention is key here. Did they intend to hurt you? All right, you have to know the difference between someone that genuinely made a mistake and someone who they want to use you as a emotional and sometimes even physical punching bag for the rest of their days, because that's what keeps them alive, is our energy. And this can also manifest into falling ill. and having all these sicknesses because you have a sick individual living right under your roof. Excuse me. That's why you gotta get rid of toxic people. And by toxic, I mean some person that refuses to change for the better, a person who refuses to take accountability for all the suffering that they put people through. And it's very hard for me to feel bad for a narcissist with all the knowledge that I've gathered throughout the years of learning, and I'm still learning. It's really hard to feel bad for the narcissist because they clearly pick good people. They pick the best people to abuse, right? So how can you feel bad for someone like that? And it may be especially if you are a victim of narcissistic abuse. I've also have been on that receiving end of that abuse as well. I have been through narcissistic abuse. I have several scenarios throughout my life. It just one of the greatest pains you could ever experience is being abused by these soulless ones. I got some stories from childhood, and even when my young adult years and all that, but the most painful experiences I have already been through, and I have survived it. And yes, it gives you PTSD, and yes, it makes you feel some type of way, it makes you feel angry, and then when you get into the dating scene, it's just like everyone's a motherfucking narcissist, damn near, right? Now, at this point, I'm doing better than I did before. Definitely, yes. I know there are good human beings out there. That is why I feel compelled to make these videos and spread the information to the best of my ability, and I try not to let my anxiety take over me, because sometimes when I'm talking, I may not, sometimes I stutter or whatever, but hey, look, information has to go out there. But I'm letting you know right now that the dark energy of the soulless one is very real, and you can end up being sick when you are around these people. I promise you. All right, because I'm gonna give you an example. All right, I've seen this. I've also experienced a few things, but when I was in the presence of a soulless one, right, during my childhood, this soulless one, was what you call it? I remember that I started developing. I always had irregular periods. There's that irregular periods, and also a lot of stress, also anxiety, and I had a skin condition temporarily, and it didn't make sense for me to have it, and it was terrible. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the skin condition that Job had, Job from the Bible. Luckily, that, obviously that was cured of that back then, but it was just strange, like feeling sick and having skin issues. And sometimes I used to have a lot of nightmares about where I was living, where I had that skin condition, and it's a filthy place. One thing I learned about these soulless ones is that when you live with them, they are very filthy. And it's so crazy because it's very trippy just thinking about it. Very, very trippy. Because how in the hell can you clean a house and you still have a specific skin condition that you can only get if you live in a filthy place? And I remember I would have dreams of me trying to clean the place as much as I can, but whatever, no matter how much I clean the place up, it never ever is like there's constant dirt and filth constantly added on there. I see pests running around in the dreams. Now, in reality, we did have pests, but it wasn't to the magnitude to actually have that skin condition. I mean, that skin condition is like, it was just, you have to be really dirty, and to this very day, like, I don't even know how that even happened. So that lets me to believe that it has to be spiritual. The fact that it had a hold in my mind, constantly having dreams, like cleaning the house. Because I know the place ain't dirty, because I would clean the house, I would clean the house. Everybody's working. People live upstairs. His family lived upstairs. They were not always clean, but we were clean. Our place was always clean. I made sure I cleaned everything. But no matter how much I cleaned that place, I still had that skin condition. And thank goodness I was cured from it within about a week or so. So I was good, but it's very traumatizing because I was itching everywhere, and it was like I was only like maybe 11, 12 years old. So yeah, it was just crazy. But no matter how much I cleaned, I still had that. And I never had nothing like that before, on top of irregular periods and a lot of nightmares, a lot of paranormal, supernatural occurrences like sleep paralysis and all this crazy stuff. I remember I used to have recurring nightmares a lot, especially after he really really abused me. Like, I don't want to get into all of that, but the mental abuse was consistent. Mental abuse for 6 years, and then that one thing at the age of 13. And then after that, it was just nightmares after nightmares, and then just PTSD. That is, it awakened another layer of PTSD because I already had PTSD from prior abuse before that by someone else. So it's just a lot. It's so much going on. And that's what leads me to believe that this thing is very much spiritual. You can become sick because all of your essence is being drained and depleted out of you. I had a disturbing dream not too long ago that I was in the presence of the incubus spirits, and I was urinating, and it was very disturbing. I can't even go in detail, but it's like, it wasn't just urine. It was like my life source was being drained out of me, and I was becoming weaker and weaker and weaker, and I was being watched by these what I thought was like incubus spirits, dark spirits, soulless ones. Because there was some undertones that kind of made me think like this is like a sexual type of being that's trying to deplete energy from us. And so yeah, man, I'm telling you, I got so many disturbing dreams, so many trippy, weird, like supernatural, spiritual warfare type dreams. Like, I can go on and on about it, but I just want to highlight a few of those. And the disturbing thing about this dream, oh my god, man, it's like, oh man, it's so disturbing. But it's like, I don't even want to say it, but there's it gave me clarity to this next point I'm gonna get into. This is another example of how narcissistic abuse can manifest into physical symptoms. There was only one time in my life that I have ever had my period twice in a month. I lost a lot of blood, and on top of that, I had just got a tattoo. So imagine you get a tattoo, everything's normal, and then I met a person whom was a soulless one, or a narcissist, or someone who had narcissistic traits, who was emotionally immature. I don't know what it is, but either way, I cannot afford to have this person back in my life. That will never happen, okay? But this happened a long time ago, say about around the holidays. Actually, it was 2014 going on 2015 in the winter. And I will never forget the day that I basically met this person online, and finally met up with this person. This person, we had good chemistry. I mean, literally, like, we talked for a long time about a lot of different subjects. We connected very well, very compatible. It was just crazy. But if I look back, I didn't know about narcissism because this was before this information was so out like that. But there's one phrase that he said that it lets me know that this person was definitely playing the narc games, and that is when he said, I just want to know everything that you like. I want to know everything that interests you, everything that you like, and take a picture of all the different styles of clothes and the different things that you like, because I want to know what you like so that I can treat you the way that you deserve to be treated. And on the surface, it sounds good, right? Because it's like, oh, this person's so invested in getting to know me. And then you come to find out that this is a soulless one at work. You see, this person has no, like, now that I look back, it's like, why do you want me to take a picture of the clothes that I wear so that you can have an idea of what kind of personality I have, what kind of person I am, so that you can basically mirror that? You see, that's what it is. It's not to get to know you. It's only to use it against you so that it could seem like you guys are soulmates. And that's why it felt so real. It felt like that. And then, but talking on the phone is one thing, you know, even if you're, it doesn't even matter if it's Skype or whatever. You have to actually be in the presence of this individual to really know what type of spirit you're dealing with. The only way for you to detect the spirit is to be in person, you see. Now, of course, the more you ascend spiritually, eventually you'll be able to know, like, hey, this person got a bad spirit on them, things like that from a distance. If you listen to somebody, you watch somebody, you could tell something's not right with them. So you don't necessarily have to be there. But in the beginning, especially when it comes to dating, you have got to know this person's spirit by being with them face to face. You got to see what you're dealing with. You got to see the type of vibration they come with. And if you feel like shit, or if you're drained in their presence, that is important when it comes to dating. Yes, absolutely. And I will attest to this, because while I was talking to this individual, like I said, I had my period twice, and I was having a lot of anxiety throughout the course of that time, which was weird. Like, at first I thought, okay, maybe this is because I've had anxiety before, like it wasn't new to me, but I'm like, why do I feel anxiety talking to this guy? Like, I felt like my energy was depleting. Like, it felt like, if I reflect back, right, to those days, even talking on the phone, it was like, it felt more like an addiction. It didn't really feel like a connection. It was like, but I didn't know the difference at the time. So it was like, you just felt like you couldn't put the phone down. You just talking. And, oh my God, yeah. It's like an addiction. It's not really, what it really, like, it's not a connection. It feels like it, especially when you've been deprived. It feels like a connection, but it's not. It's like your life source is being taken out of you, even from that distance, because you're entertaining the conversation, and this person is just very much taking a lot out of you. And I couldn't understand why, and until I finally met this person. I met this person in person, and then I had the biggest panic attack, around them, and I did not understand why. Imagine you're in public, you're going out, you're having a good day, and then out of nowhere, you just feel lightheaded. You feel like you're gonna pass out. My blood sugar started to decrease immediately as soon as I sat next to this person. I felt like a crackhead. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I felt like a crackhead. Like, I was just like energy depleted, but then I felt excited at the same time. It was like a drug fiend. Like, oh yeah, this is energetic. This is not physical. It's energetic, And then after a while, like, I felt like I was gonna pass out because it was so intense. You see, and I had anxiety. And I didn't know why, So it's weird. And I remember I told my therapist about this, and my therapist told me that your body was letting you know that this person had bad intentions. And she was right, because this person ended up hurting me in the end. ended up hurting me really bad to the point that he messed me up with anxiety for 2 weeks, you know. And I was shaken uncontrollably after that, after he hurt me. And there you go, the continuation of the anxiety. And now I look back like, why did this person, it's like I only remembered how this person gave me anxiety after they hurt me. But when I really look back and reflect, I started thinking about, wow, I already had anxiety even before, but I couldn't really, it's like I was so blinded by the love bombing. I was so blinded by all those conversations and stuff like that. I was like so engaged with it that I completely lost sight of how my health was I was having issues with my blood. Had blood problems, which is weird. Blood problems, hormonal problems as well. I never, and it's been, how long has it been? Like maybe 9 years, like 9 years or so. For about 8, 9 years, I have not experienced having a period twice in 1 month. That has never happened. That was the only time that happened, was being in the presence of this person that gave me anxiety. It's like my body just knew, I need to go. You gotta go. What are you doing there? Get out. See? It was like that. And when I look back, I'm like, damn, it's like my body was telling me to leave this person alone. You know, it was crazy. Like, I felt like a crack fiend just being around this person. I was so excited, but at the same time I had anxiety. It was wild. And at first I thought it was just PTSD. I'm like, what if it's in my head? What if it's just PTSD I didn't know about? My therapist said that although you do have PTSD, guess what? Your nervous system, because it's been overstimulated so much due to abuse and trauma, your nervous system now, it reacts with anxiety when in the presence of danger. So it's like, it may seem like your responses are exaggerated because of the abuse, because of the overstimulation, so in other words, my body was reacting. It's like my body was not wrong for reacting that way. Maybe I was doing too much, or my nervous system was over reacting to it, because obviously, like, imagine feeling anxiety every time you're in the presence of a soulless one. So it's a lot of soulless ones out here. Eventually we gotta learn how to control our nerves, control and calm down and stuff like that. And that's something that I struggled, especially back in those days, because my PTSD was pretty fresh. And then this individual, this soulless creature, literally re-traumatized me yet again. And so giving me crippling anxiety for 2 weeks and uncontrollable sorrow and anger at the same time. The fact that this person had so much power over me is absolutely, it pissed me off. I mean, now I don't give a fuck because I got over it, but when I look back at those days, it was very difficult. It wasn't like a regular, breakup or whatever. It was like this person completely pretended to be someone they're not. They played me. They played with my feelings. They knew all about my traumas. They knew all about it. And when I look back, because I was blinded by the love bombing, I look back, and even though that was a short, that connection, whatever you want to call it, was short-lived. It wasn't gonna go anywhere. You see, I thought it was, because that's what they led me to believe. And then you find out this person never gave a fuck about you, and they thought about ghosting me. But I demanded answers. I demanded it, and I eventually got that. And guess what? I got obliterated into pieces. And it gave me the biggest mind fuck that you could never imagine. Like, anybody who has dated and been played and heartbroken by a narcissist, you know exactly how that discard feels. They go in on you. Like, it doesn't matter how good you look, how smart you are. how talented you are, this person will annihilate your soul. Narcissistic abuse is premeditated spiritual murder that will manifest into physical symptoms until you cut all ties with all soulless ones. Exactly. I'll never forget that experience. I already had PTSD. I already had unhealed childhood wounds, and this person enjoyed my pain. Let me take the time to explain to you what that feels like. Imagine you think this person cares about you and loves you, and then they see you cry, or maybe whether they see you cry in person or they hear you crying over the phone. Either way, they can hear it. They can hear the sobbing. They can hear how broken they made you, or at least they tried to make you broken, but for that moment you were broken down. It gets to a point where even the toughest person can't handle that kind of thing, at least for that moment. It's only natural that as a human being you're gonna feel something when someone breaks your heart, when you realize that this person pretended to be someone that they're not, and then it's just like, what? You're telling me that whole time was a lie. That impacts you in a negative way. It does. And I'll never forget about how my nervous system reacted to that. Like, my nervous system was like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I couldn't, and it being devalued, and this person just verbally and emotionally annihilating your spirit and with everything that they have, telling you, making you feel like you're unlovable, like you're worthless. Wow, after you showed them nothing but love. That is crazy. Absolutely insane. And I'll never forget how my nervous system reacted, because this individual knew everything that I've been through, because you confided in this person. You thought that they were for you. They claimed that they understood where you were coming from. That was a lie. These people lie about anything. They'll literally lie about all their little traumas or whatever. It's probably bullshit for all you know. It's like these individuals are some of the most sickest, most demented, wicked people that you will ever meet. Ever. And imagine you already have PTSD, and then this scumbag comes along, makes you fall in love with them, just so that they could tell you that they feel nothing for you, just so that they could break your spirit down, not only with, oh, I feel nothing for you, but the reason why I feel nothing for you is because then they give you that long list of all your insecurities, all your flaws, all this. The truth is that all humans are flawed to some degree. The narcissist has a way of making you believe that you're unlovable and that nobody wants you, because you know why? Because the truth is, nobody wants them. Nobody wants a soulless one. The soulless one has to wear a mask for people to love them. Nobody loves these creatures, because these creatures have to come in a different form in order to be liked. But in essence, they are not liked. That's why they don't show their true face, because if you were to see it, you could be immediately disgusted with them. Oh, yeah. So, that was intense, but that's all I had to say about that. I don't have no other thoughts about that, but narcissistic abuse is very intense, and thankfully God has removed these individuals from my life. Thank God that He has removed them from your life as well, even though it was painful. The discord is painful, the heartbreak is painful, but if you currently have soulless ones in your life that are depleting and draining your energy each and every day of your life, please do yourself a favor and cut them off. Grieving the loss of maybe friends, family, or whatever, it may hurt, but what's going to hurt more is the longer you allow these people into your life, because they are only going to destroy it slowly. Or it may appear into your health might decline, actually. Yes. No, it will decline if you allow these people to stay into your life, and allow them to suck the energy dry out of you. This thing is intense, I'm telling you. Like, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There's this energy about them, and you could just feel it, and you just know you can't have them around you. All they're gonna do is just drain the energy right out of you. And I think I've said that enough, so I'm gonna end it right here.